Yo, what's up? Today we are coming back to the Werewolf Disco Club track made by I Hate Models. In part 1 we have finished with the funky bass line we have created in the Massive synthesizer. Today we will use the Serum synthesizer to create the sub-bass sound, and also we will create a whole percussion sound. With this we will finish the beat recreation. Let's get to work. We will start this tutorial with creating a sub-bass sound. So I will take the Serum synthesizer and create a bass line. Our first note is going to sit at E0. We will change the waveform to a square wave, so I will choose the basic shapes wavetable and pick a square wave. To change the sound of our square wave, we will head to the warping section, and in that menu we will select the pulse width modulation. This is a common functionality which you can meet in lots of analog synthesizers. The square wave has lots of harmonics and high frequencies which we want to cut. I will turn on the filter and make sure the oscillator A is assigned to it. We will pick a low pass filter which is quite steep, and now I will adjust the cutoff frequency. Notice that besides turning the cutoff frequency knob, we can also tell the amount of frequencies cut by choosing the steepness of a filter curve. The steeper the curve, the more aggressive the filter is. Now we will create a rhythm. We are not going to modulate the filter cutoff frequency. Instead, I will modulate the volume of the oscillator A. Let's drag the LFO1 tile towards the level knob, and the modulation range can be set to maximum. Now we will replace this triangle curve with something more applicable. To add any extra point in the Serum, just double click the LFO drawing area. Also, we would like to snap some points to the grid, so to do that you want to hold the left Alt key while dragging any point. Now I will draw the right rhythm. Thanks to such LFO curve, we are getting a pumping effect, which you can also achieve by using a sidechain compression. The last thing is to add some distortion to make our bass sound a bit more beefier. Instead of using the tube saturation, we are going to use something more aggressive, and from all the distortion modes I will pick the Sine Shaper. Our simple sub-bass patch is almost created. Now I will load the final preset to show you how this bass line is going to sound like. We are going to influence the sound of this bass further. At first I'm going to apply a trick which I showed you in the second part of the Intergalactic Emotional Breakdown Recreation tutorial. We will expand the bass line by attaching an extra note, which is going to be an octave higher. In the Intergalactic Emotional Breakdown tutorial, we have copied the note and pasted it an octave above. Today, we will do the same thing, but in a different way. I will take the chord effect from the MIDI effects section, and here I can attach up to 6 different extra notes. So let me select the first note, which is going to play at 1 octave above. And now, while you can't see this extra note in the MIDI clip, it's definitely there, and we will hear a difference in the sound. The last thing is going to be the bassline equalization. I will use the equalizer to roll off lots of mid frequencies, but also we will make the bass sound softer. At first, let's use the low pass filter to cut all the mid frequencies which we don't need in this bass sound. We will use a high pass filter to cut the lowest frequencies, which are almost unhearable. We will make the bass softer this way. In the end, to fine-tune the sound, you can use a bell filter to boost some narrow frequency range. The final equalization curve that I made can look like this. Now let's listen to how the bassline changes with and without the equalizer. The rhythmic bassline is created, and now we can move on to the percussion. Enjoying the video so far? Make sure to watch later my other sound design tutorials and subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss my future videos. Also, if you would like to learn even more, contact me for a private music production lesson. We will start the percussion work with the kick drum. I picked this sample, and regarding the sample choice, we want to pick something which has a nice round body. But this sample is not perfect. At first I will transpose it down so it sits more in the lower frequencies region. I will transpose it down by 11 semitones. We would like to cut this sample, so I will drag this, vertical line to shorten the sample. After cutting the sample, you can hear some weird click in the end. To remove this, I'm going to use the fade out. Also, I want to make this kick drum sound softer. We have to remove a bit the initial click, which you can see here in this waveform. For this, we will use the fade in. Talking about further kick drum processing to make it sound softer, we will use a low pass filter, but with a small twist. Instead of using a static low pass filter, we are going to use an automated one. At first, let's adjust the frequency knob, which rolls off higher frequencies. If we want to modulate this filter, you have to crank up the modulation knob. Probably this modulation isn't even rhythmic, so we are going to reach to the modulation section and we will find a setting for the modulation. We are going to change the shape to a ramp down. Let's fine tune the modulation now. We will adjust the frequency knobs and the modulation knobs. There are two ways to make this filter a bit more aggressive. The first way is using the resonance control. By creating that bump around the cutoff frequency, we will make this filter more hearable. Its effect is going to be more pronounced. But also, to make this filter cut even more frequencies, I'm going to change the pulse control up to 4. This will make the filter steeper. Now I will load up the preset with final settings of this plugin. By removing these higher frequencies from the kick, we made it sound softer. Now let's compare the sound between the automated filter and the static one. In the end, I want to equalize this kick drum. We will sculpt the mid-frequencies range, we will boost the low end. Wait, not with this plugin. And we will also remove further the click, which sits somewhere in the higher frequencies region. The equalization curve can look something like that, more or less. By cutting the mid-frequencies, we are making this kick sound less dull. We have attenuated the initial click by cutting the frequencies from around 2 kHz region. The last thing is a low-end boost caused by this first bell filter. Let's add quickly the sub-bass and our bass line we made in the first part, just to see how all these sounds get along. Now it's time to add some rhythmic elements. We're going to use 2 hi-hats, which are going to be layered, and in the end a clap sample. Our first hi-hat is going to be a short hi-hat. As with the kick drum sample, we will make this hi-hat sound softer by adding a fade-in. And further, to make this hi-hat sound even softer, we will use the equalizer and we will add again a high-pass filter to cut lots of mid-frequencies. All the remaining samples are going to be processed in a similar way. Here I have a second hi-hat. As you can hear, this hi-hat is longer, but also it sounds more blurred. This hi-hat is going to complement our short hi-hat sound, and it's going to create a background for our beat. It's just going to fill the higher frequencies region even more. But this hi-hat is too long, so at first I'm going to cut it to make it sound shorter. As with our kick drum, we will make this hi-hat sound softer by adding a fade-in. This time the fade-in is going to be much bigger because we already have all the attack and, let's say, click in the first hi-hat sample. Especially if you listen to this video through headphones, you can hear that this hi-hat is very wide. To make this sound more narrow, I'm going to use the utility. We will use the width knob to reduce the width. Let's set it to 35%. Later I can use an equalizer again, and because I said we are going to process all the remaining samples in a similar way, we will use again a high-pass filter. Sometimes you can add an extra character to your hi-hat by boosting some narrow frequency range with a bell filter. Now we can add the first hi-hat. The second hi-hat is a bit too loud, so I will use the utility again and add some attenuation. Our second hi-hat is finished. It gives an impression of a reverb, but instead of just using a reverb on the first hi-hat, I didn't use a reverb because short reverbs can sound artificial and I wanted some more natural sound. And to get that more natural sound, instead of using the reverb, I have chosen a second hi-hat sample, which I layered. The last thing is our clap sample. Which here we only have to use the equalizer. We don't need to cut this sample because I wanted to get a long clap sound. I don't want to add a fade in because I don't want to cut any attack from this clap. It would make the rhythm worse. So the only thing is using a high pass filter again to make this clap sound softer. Let's play all the percussive samples together, and on top of them I will add the bass line to see how our beat sounds like so far. In the original track, this funky bass line is the most important element. That's why during the recreation I wanted to give this sound lots of space. That's why we have been cutting a lot of mid frequencies from all the percussive sounds. And that's why the kick drum is also soft. And regarding the compression and saturation, I will use a Devil-Log Deluxe compressor from Soundtoys. This is a very aggressive tool and I will show you how it works. The first two controls are responsible for the different ways of distortion and compression. Let's check out the crash control first. The crunch control is going to give us a lot of distortion when cranked up. I will set up these two controls now. We are going to crank them very little to not overdo the effect. The darkness knob is a post-compression low-pass filter. When we turn this up, we are going to roll off some higher frequencies. The last knob, the mix one, blends the compressed signal with the uncompressed one. Now I will show you the final settings of this compressor. As you see, I grouped that compressor with the utility, which is going to compensate the volume of the compressed bass, not the bass line, but the percussion. If we turn on and off the whole group, not only the compressor, we can judge whether the Devil-Log is doing the good thing or not. At last, we can group all the sounds together to apply some group equalization. Here I have prepared an equalizer with the final settings. Let's compare the sound of the beat again. And this would be everything about our second part of the Werewolf Disco Club track recreation. If you like this tutorial, please like it. You can use the comments section to give me some feedback or to suggest me another tutorial idea. And again, if you don't want to miss my next uploads, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. See you next time.